I don't know if we're live yet, but hey, Ebony, I'm Rachel. I've never met you. I know everyone else, but just wanted before we go live to just say hello.
Hello, Rachel. How are you doing?
We ready? All righty. Hey, y'all. How y'all doing? This is Lene Gray with the Lene Gray Show here on KUAW, Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom, Kansas City's first global community radio station. You are most likely listening to the Lene Gray Show, or watching or listening to.
And wisdom. We apologize for that technical difficulty. That wasn't even the D's fault. Or the professor.
But we have been doing pretty well. We really have been doing pretty well without any technical difficulties. Yeah, just do one.
All right. Coming up on the show today, our question of the day is, what is the treatment for the 6 types of cheaters, 6 types of cheating? Last week we covered the 6 types of cheaters, 6 types of cheating. So
you
today,
I know one type of treatment. I know one type of treatment.
What the therapy looks like.
I said I know one type of treatment that I was heard about when we was like in the 80s.
What,
Who was the lady? The woman that cut the man's thing off. What was her name?
Oh Lord. Bobbitt. Lorena Bobbitt.
Lorena Bobbitt. Now, that's the best treatment right there, y'all.
That would be considered a behavioral intervention. But it's not evidence-based. It's not supported in the, it's not supported in the research.
And those are not the views of KUAW Radio.
For those of you who don't want to do Lorena
the cutoff,
we're going to talk about if you drag your cheater to therapy. And
if they'll go.
If they'll go, that's true. I see a lot of couples, though, who are in for infidelity. And I actually see a lot of, like, the cheaters, they'll come for individual. Now, sometimes they're forced. Like, you either going to get help.
Or bye-bye.
Or I'm hiring an attorney. And then my phone be blowing up. Like, I need to schedule. But there are some who are like, no, I really want to get better at this. Like, I feel horrible. I love my spouse. I don't want to go through this. And here's what's interesting. Although I probably see more men in for cheating than women, the men seem to be more remorseful than the women cheaters.
Yeah, because we already got cheated on, so we just giving it back to you. Not I, but that's just how
that's
some
the revenge
women,
cheating.
That's the revenge cheater.
That's the revenge cheater. But I always thought that was interesting that the women oftentimes are almost,
a lot of times,
unapologetic.
A lot of times, a lot of women don't get caught. If a woman get caught, it's really because she wants to get caught. Because we are, honey, guess what? We are the offsprings of Eve. You better understand that.
You know what? Y'all think the D is kidding. But
you better ask somebody.
Men do get caught more.
Yeah.
I see.
Because we're the slickest one. We was the one that started the game for real.
I see a lot of female cheaters who they never get caught.
Never get caught.
Why is that, D? Wait, hold on. Wait, let's wait till we get to that segment. Hold on.
Because I'm about to give it. I'm
about to be all up in that right now.
My thought about it. I'm just going to give you my thought about it.
Well, real quick, what is it? Why do women not get caught?
Because we're very particular and we put parameters around these things. You know what I'm talking about? Like when I was out there in the world, I used to tell them, I'm like, hey, I got 2 main boyfriends and I'm not leaving neither one of them. But we can kick it. But don't get feelings because I'm going to cut you.
Don't catch no feelings because she going to cut you.
Because I'm going to cut you. And that just used to be my thing. I mean, that used to be my thing back in the day when I was young.
But are women more careful
Yes.
to not get caught.
Yes.
So men are sloppy.
Yes, and we look
And-
for things,
and risk
we'll look
takers.
because it's really about a man's ego. Because my woman will never cheat on me.
Men,
I
now that's
give her
true.
everything, boy, and plus I put the hammer down. Hey, it is what
Oh my God,
it is.
she's preaching the gospel. Men don't look for it because men are like, ain't no way this woman
Ain't
would
no
cheat
way.
on me.
When does
Which
she?
makes
when
it
does she even
easier.
have time?
Right, and there's always time, and that is
For
what.
anything that you
Now
want
this
to
is
do.
this is true. I've seen this. That is what makes it easier for women to get away with cheating. Is the male ego saying there is no way
No way.
possible. I know this heifer ain't cheating on me. I'm laying it down. You know, yes.
And then that's the reason why it's so hard for
And they be
men to
cheating.
forgive.
Oh, men don't forgive on no cheating. Even if he has cheated 100 times.
Yes.
They will
Yes.
show up for couples therapy like she the only person who cheated.
Yeah.
And that's in the cases of revenge cheating where the woman is like, I only did it to teach you a lesson. But
And she's gonna cut it to the quick.
and he gets so stuck on the fact that she cheated that the lesson is lost.
Yes, like I was talking to one of my friends, and he's been separated for like 3 years, and I was like, "So, would you ever take back your wife?" Now, mind you, he been out here gallivanting, doing whatever. He was like, because she gave my stuff away.
His stuff
His stuff
gave it away.
gave away
Somebody tore his stuff up, tore
and tore it up.
and he imagining, because he thinking about what he was doing to his stuff, and so he imagined somebody else doing that to his stuff, and he couldn't
He can't
recover from
handle
that. He couldn't recover. This is so true. Okay, so we're gonna talk about these types of things when we get to that segment, even though we just immediately dived into it.
We
Okay.
didn't we?
But first, let's do our check-in. D.
I don't have a check-in. That was just my check-in. earlier.
Okay. See,
So I'm gonna give it to the time.
I have a check-in that is in alignment with this whole cheating thing.
Ooh, let me hear it.
Okay. Have you ever, I have done this so many times. Have you ever been thinking about one person, but you're supposed to be texting somebody else, and you accidentally text the person that you're thinking about, or you're texting 2 or 3 people at the same time and accidentally send the text to the wrong person?
No, because I used to be a so-called, what you tried to say I was last week, a cheater. So I am real particular.
You just admitted to cheat.
No, but I really wasn't cheating. If I'm letting you know what's going on. And remember, I told you what the pastor said. If we not married, for real, I don't owe you nothing. If you haven't gave me a ring.
Who has a history of cheating.
You haven't gave me a ring.
That's why the pastor said that.
Okay.
If you in a committed relationship,
Then we need to be making a date. And when we make the date, when you give me my ring and we make a date, I'm off the market. And literally, when you think about it, that's what people say. You're
it's
off
only
the
cheating
market.
if you're not engaged. But what about people who don't believe in marriage? They believe in committed,
I don't believe
long-term
about that.
relationships.
I don't believe in
They
that.
shouldn't be cheated on because they don't believe in marriage.
Well, I don't believe in that.
And there's more cheating amongst married people than single people.
And that's true.
So a ring ain't gonna stop a fool from cheating, D.
A ring will stop me.
Oh, okay, D. Okay.
That's my values. That's me.
Okay.
And then everyone, I put my phone face down. So on the phone thing, don't mess with my phone. I don't mess with your phone.
But have you ever
No,
accidentally
I haven't.
texted?
No.
Okay, well, let me tell you. This is my check-in. Let me tell you what
hear
happened.
about this. It sounds juicy.
I was texting a family member's spouse, and he ended up sending me a text
He sent
that was not meant for me.
what?
The text was not about his wife either. He ended up sending a text.
What did this text say? Stop dragging the sound.
It was one of them. hey baby, I love you too. I see you in a little bit. It was one of them. It was one of them texts. Yeah. And so
when he found out that he sent a text
he
to you,
immediately sent me a text saying that his phone had gotten hacked. And that his text messages, now, you know, I'm a therapist. I'm like, he's cheating on my family member.
On your family member. And what do you do?
Who I love.
So what do you do?
Well, that's what I'm wanting to talk about. I don't think I handled it appropriately.
You probably did. And what did you do?
I made the mistake of saying, well, he was going into all this, my phone been hacked before, and he's telling all these hacking stories, and his anxiety level is through the roof. Like, I'm getting...
Did he call you?
I had seen him that day. I'm getting text messages. I went by the phone company to try to get it taken care of. The phone company said they're going to take care of it. This went on all day. And me and Nadine was like, why this fool cheating?
So did he call you, or was he continue texting?
He was texting. We talked on the phone. We had talked in person. He held to this story that his phone was hacked. And so after I got tired of it, I said, listen, I need you to get rid of that hoe. Because if your wife find out about that hoe, it's going to hit the fan. Okay? But he stuck to his story that his phone had been hacked. And so I decided, I said, well, here's a way to see if the phone had been hacked. One, I didn't know text messages can be hacked. I thought only internet stuff can be hacked on a phone. I have never heard of text messages getting hacked. And
anybody, if you have, send it to us, because we most definitely would like to know about
someone
this.
Who has been hacked. Please let us know if text messages can be hacked. Because I know that, like, your social media pages and internet stuff can be hacked, but we're talking about text messages. And when you are hacked, because this is what Nadine was saying, when you're hacked, you don't know you hacked. Other people tell you. Because I've been hacked. And the way I found out that somebody had hacked into my Facebook page was people started sending me stuff saying, what is this that you sent me? I didn't send you
Messenger.
crap.
I'm like, what is this, some Messenger?
Right. And so the fact that he immediately texts me within seconds after sending the text, I'm like, how does fool know he hacked? And how they hack into his text messages. This is how I mishandled the situation. I said to Nadine, I said, well, here's what I'm going to ask him. Did he tell her? Because if you're hacked, you don't need to keep it a secret. You see what I'm saying? When I got hacked, I'm like, somebody hacked me? You know, because sometimes the hacks be sexual. And you need to immediately let your spouse know, like, I don't know whose breasts these are. This showed up on Messenger. Well, my hack was about somebody dying. It wasn't sexual at all. But I still, just in conversation. But they wanted you to
click on the link and see.
And get a virus on your phone.
Get a virus on your phone, right.
Right. And that's the other thing. How are you hacked and there's no link, there's no virus? What kind of hack? How is that a good hack? Who's hacking in the phones to send love messages?
I think it was a no hack.
So this is what I did. I did not handle this appropriately. What I did was I said to him, I said, what did you tell her? No, I didn't tell her. I didn't want to go through all that. Go through what? Well, I didn't want, why would you be going through something though? If you were hacked and you've been to the phone company and they fixed the phone and you've been hacked 100 times before and you've always told her, why couldn't you tell her about this time? So I said, here's the thing. I'm not going to tell her. First mistake. I'm not going to tell her, but if you're not willing to tell her, that's a problem for me, because now you got me in a position where I'm keeping a secret.
We dealt with
from
that.
my loved one.
We dealt with that before. I mean, on the show, we have discussed that. Remember?
What did we say?
It was when the children know that one of their mother or their father is cheating.
We showed.
They put you right there in it. Yeah, we did.
The question of do you tell?
Do you tell?
Your daddy
and
that
you
your
said you was gonna tell.
Is that what I said?
You said you was gonna tell, and I said I wouldn't, but I'll make them tell on themselves.
That's what I did.
That's what you was trying to do.
That's what I was trying to do.
Did he tell?
He said. He said, okay, I'll tell her because I see what you're saying. That put me in that puts you in a bad position. I said it puts me in a real bad position because you are expecting me to keep a secret from my family member.
Who you really do love.
Who I love, and you are expecting me to betray my family member. I said, so I need you to tell her about this. And so he immediately texts back within less than 5 minutes that he had told her, and that she didn't think anything of it because he's been hacked so many times before. Here's my thoughts. He probably has been hacked on social media or something before, and what I'm suspecting that he said to her is, my phone has been hacked again, and she said again, yes, okay. I don't think he said my phone was hacked and it
text JP.
JP,
baby, I love you.
That looked like
I'm on my way to see you.
I love you. I'm on my way, and be good for Big Papa and all of that mess. All that corny mess that sounds like something he would say.
Because you know him.
Yeah. And so, what are your thoughts on how I should handle this situation, D? How do you think I should handle this situation?
He didn't come all the way clean. He
probably told her, but he didn't tell her. He lied by omission. He didn't tell her. And the problem that I have is that I made the mistake of saying, I'm not going to get in this. And it's looking unavoidable at this point.
And you know what? They call me an S starter. Like, I'll wait till I'll blow up a family function. Be like, hey! You remember this text? So-and-so, did he tell you about this crazy text he sent me after his phone got hacked?
Since he told her. I actually should be able to mention it
because he already said it. Yeah.
And so what I'm thinking that I'm gonna do is say, because what I said to him is, well, I'm saying that I'm not gonna get in it, but I can't tell you that Nadine ain't gonna mention it, because I can't tell her what to mention and not mention. That's why he told her, because he's like, oh Lord. But what I might do is say, what y'all gonna do about this fool's phone getting hacked? Because I can't be getting them kind of text messages.
I know.
And she gonna be like, text messages.
If Nadine had seen that in my phone about I love you and I'm on my way and I work from home, so,
I'd have ended up with a black eye.
What was about to happen in the house?
I'd ended up with a black eye. And then she gonna be like, what the hell you talking about?
Exactly. Yeah, because he didn't say the whole truth. He lied.
I doubt it. Now, in the event that he actually was hacked, we really need somebody who knows about phones.
I don't think that happens.
I don't think it can be done like that.
Not by the text.
My other thought was to do some research into whether or not that type of hacking takes place, because if I have evidence that he lied.
Hold on a minute, JP. Can we ask our researcher to Google?
That's the one, girl.
Can your phone get text hacked?
Can your text messages be hacked? And why would they be hacked without a virus? And how did he know he was hacked within a second?
Because it's a lie.
That message came quick. My phone's hacked.
It's a lie.
That wasn't me. That wasn't me. My phone's hacked.
And that's the reason why men get caught cheating.
Because
let me tell you now,
men are sloppy.
Now let me tell you, on my text messages, you might not be understanding what I'm saying on my text messages because sometimes my mind be on something else. But I'm a show
They be in a
check.
foreign language sometimes.
But I'm a show check and see who I'm sending it to before I hit send.
The D. I've done that though.
I haven't.
And I can't remember exactly what happened, but one time I was mad at somebody and I was texting somebody else, fussing about that person and sent it to them. Wasn't nothing I could do though, because I meant what I had said. I didn't mean to send it to them, but I meant what I said. So that's why I was like, no, this is an accident. Like you texting 2-3 people and you done hit send, and he immediately realized, oh crap.
But he said another word, you guys, I promise.
Oh, he said another word.
Maybe a couple of words.
He good at the other words. Okay. So yeah, that's my check-in. I was just wanting to know how you think I should handle that deal.
Well, we already said I'll blow up a family event.
Lord,
I'll blow up a family event.
All right, mental health and illness in the news. You know what? I decided today, let's focus on mental health and let's focus on the babies. The babies.
The babies. We love the babies.
Love the babies. A child by the name of Sage Goodall in Florida collected nearly 6,000 stuffed animals to send to children in Ukraine. That was so sweet of this kid.
Oh,
and they did the interview with him, and he was talking about how they're people too, and they deserve this too. Like, this was a sweet kid.
Oh, wow. I
And
like
so-
seeing that because sometimes our children get so selfish.
And self-centered. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that was a good one.
That was
really good.
I was like, if adults
We have
could
great parents.
follow in the footsteps of the children, the whole world would be a different place. Okay, so here's the next one. A little leaguer, he's 12, his name is Isaiah Jarvis, was hit in the head by a pitch thrown by another kid on the other team, Caden Shelton. Well, it knocked him down, you know, because a baseball gonna hurt.
It sure do.
In Little League, I don't know if they using full baseballs or softballs. Mr.
No,
Walker,
they
what do
use
they
real
use?
baseballs.
They use real baseballs in Little League? Okay. Because it knocked the fire out this kid.
Yeah.
And so they got him up and helped him to first base. Well, the other kid, Caden, was so upset that he had done it. He was crying on the pitcher's mound. And so little Isaiah left first base and went out there and he hugged him. And he said, I'm okay. It's
I'm
okay.
okay.
And you're doing a great job. He's 12. They had a full therapy session right there on the pitcher's mound. A full session took place.
Yeah, they did.
Like, he brought that kid back together. Like, it's okay. I got a little headache, but
it's okay.
I'm seeing stars and birds, and I'm dizzy. He didn't say all that.
But I'm okay.
But he might have a concussion though. But just the fact that
Did you bring everybody else some Dairy Queen?
I knew while we was on the air that the D, I knew it. She got ADHD, Mr. Walker. She cannot contain herself.
I
She
like
is talking to
Sundays with
somebody.
strawberry.
She is talking to the professor who just walked into the studio. D, stay focused.
With Dairy Queen.
He ain't bring us nothing.
There you go, talking about it now too. Exactly. How you come up in here and don't have 4 cups?
And since y'all are off topic and stuff, I will say that your phone can be hacked, but I don't know about the text messages. But it says that hackers can hack into your phone and then see your text messages and emails. So,
Oh, this actually might be possible.
No, it's not.
How did he know so fast?
He
though?
said C. Because it didn't happen. He's lying. And I hate saying that word,
And
but
he
he's
shouldn't have been
lying.
able to see the text if he was hacked. Only I
Exactly.
would be able to see it. I would have to
Exactly.
let him know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He lied. And that was from my researcher. Thank you.
I'm wondering, Mr. Walker, What are your thoughts on this? Does this sound fishy to you, or do you think it's possible?
Definitely sounds fishy if he calls you immediately afterwards saying his phone was hacked. Because like you said earlier, you don't even know when you're hacked unless other people tell you. So for him to call you, it's like, oh, I made a mistake. That's like a oops, and I better try and clean this up.
Yes. And so I was thinking maybe I was just being pessimistic in being determined that he's cheating and that I needed to give the benefit of the doubt.
Hell no.
Okay. It's a consensus. The professor just walked in. He missed that whole story. We can't go back through that story.
And we're not going back because you should have been,
right.
You were tardy for the party.
He was tardy for the party. He missed the whole story about little Isaiah. Okay, little Isaiah hugging a picture on the pitcher's mound until he stopped crying. It was precious. Like, the kids are precious.
They really are.
Okay, so let's get to our question of the day. If you have been in a situation where some cheating has taken place and you two decide to go to therapy, let's talk about what that therapy will look like. It's usually a combination of individual and family therapy. I usually will start with individual sessions with the cheater because I want them to feel comfortable giving me all the gory details without their partner or spouse being present. You know, because if you start the sessions off as couples therapy, they are going to withhold information. The spouse who was cheated on is going to know that they withhold information, and then it blows up. And it blows up in the session. And so they usually start off coming, you know, for individual to get out the details. And so, for example, let's talk about these specific types of cheaters, and then we'll talk about the therapy in general. For those cheaters who are cheating to fulfill unmet relationship needs, we just get in touch with what those needs are and what in the primary relationship, because I usually refer to the primary relationship as the committed relationship, and then the secondary relationship is the side piece.
Side piece,
right. And so it's like, okay, well, what is it that you were getting from the secondary relationship that was lacking in the primary relationship? What was the side piece doing? And oftentimes it can be the frequency of sex. But a lot of times it's, well, I was able to feel free with that person because we're not together. We don't have to discuss the mortgage and the kids and this bill and that bill. And like, we just get together and have fun. So it allows me to feel carefree. It's an escape from the stress of my regular life. And so as the cheater begins to get into that, then we talk about what are some healthy, appropriate ways for you to get your unmet needs met in your primary relationship, which is where the couples therapy comes in, getting them prepared to talk to their spouse about what their needs are. Here's the tricky part. Without coming across like they are blaming the spouse for their cheating. And there's a very fine, thin line on this, because when you're talking about having cheated and you tell your spouse, my sexual needs were not being met, or we don't have sex often enough, or, you know, we fight a lot and I don't fight with this person that I had this affair with, whatever it is, you have to be very careful. If you in any way come across like you are blaming the victim of your cheating for you cheating, that could immediately result in a punch to the face. Immediately. And so what I do in the individual sessions is prepare them to have that conversation in couples therapy while still accepting full responsibility for their cheating. Because if they don't, their spouse is going to shut down.
Exactly. And how did that work for you? Because most of the time the cheater which is this narcissistic personality a little bit. He finds so many other things that it's the other person's fault and it's not his fault.
Well, and what I explained to them is you gonna end up in divorce court coming at this from that perspective. We can't call your spouse in and you blame them for everything and basically say it's your fault, I cheated on you. That's not okay. Because even though a person may have some unmet needs in their marriage, when you take those vows, or for those who are not married but you're in a committed relationship, when you commit, you are agreeing that, hey, if we begin to have problems in this relationship, we will turn to each other. We're not going to go find a side piece. That's not what we're going to do. And so even if your spouse needs to do some things differently, needs to work on meeting certain needs that you may have, you still have to be very clear in saying, I still accept full responsibility for how I handled this, for my reaction, because it's my fault that I decided to turn to another person. And so the individual sessions are to prepare them for accepting full responsibility. And what you're describing, D, is oftentimes a problem is they'll come to individual not accepting full responsibility. Now, I tend to be very direct and upfront. And so I'm more than willing to point out that something is BS to a person. Like, that's BS what you saying to me, and thank God your spouse ain't here, because
And he's going to say it just like that.
minus the acronym B, I'm gonna say the actual word. Like, no, we need to keep it totally real. Now, when we get to the couple sessions, the spouse usually really appreciates my approach, because when they come in, they're able to see, oh, I see that this is a therapist that you really have been held accountable, because he's very clear and direct, and he's not pulling any punches, and he's keeping it totally real. So when that spouse comes in, whether it's the husband or the wife, they're like, I assumed that he was up in here BSing some therapist. No, he's not up in here BSing me. Or no, she's not up in here BSing me. We're going to keep it totally real before we even call you in. And so that piece has to take place. For the person, let's go to the revenge sex person. What that therapy looks like is, one, revenge sex tends to backfire. As we talked about, if it is a woman having an affair for revenge, as the D has already said, men don't handle that well. They don't care if they cheated 1,000,000 times. If you screw one person, they are so stuck on that. And the other thing that I address with the revenge cheaters is, well, all these years that you have been beating your spouse over the head and saying how low down and dirty they are, now you've put yourself in a position where they're able to say, well, at least I ain't the only one who's low down and dirty.
We both are low down and dirty now.
Ooh, we both dirty. We both dirty. And what oftentimes happens is that spouse will decide to get revenge on the revenge cheater by continuing to cheat.
It might be better.
And so the revenge cheater says, wait a minute, how you gonna cheat on me because I cheated on you, because I cheated on you because you cheated on me? So who you getting revenge against? But the victim of revenge cheating is like, you cheated on me, and I'm doing more screwing now than I ever was doing. And see, oftentimes those couples, if somebody has to be willing to stop cheating, because sometimes the revenge cheater says, oh really, you want, oh, because I can continue what I can do this again. Don't make me, because I can get, and then it's like, okay, now we got revenge for revenge for revenge for revenge. Like, it becomes an unending, ridiculous, and stupid cycle. And so the goal in those sessions is to get the two of them to agree this is a lose-lose situation if y'all just continue to cheat on each other for revenge.
So, or they can just end up being roommates.
Well, and actually, sometimes they do make that decision for the sake of the kids. They'll decide, well, let's just be roommates. But that doesn't usually go well because men don't even do well with seeing their ex having a relationship with somebody.
Sure don't. Especially if it's better than you.
So that doesn't usually go over.
Because let me tell you something about cheaters. Sorry.
Tell us about cheaters, Dan.
Women cheat up, men cheat down.
Explain why.
A woman cheater, she's going to get something that's, he might be better looking, he might make more money, his sex might be better.
He's kinder.
He's going to be kinder. It's going to be better. Bless you. It's going to be better than what she already have.
Now explain why men cheat down.
Because they might already have a boss. So they have to go down to make them feel like they still that man.
Oftentimes, when people cheat down, it is to elevate themselves. And so what the D is saying is, if their wife is on this higher level, when they cheat with a woman on this level, she makes way down here. She makes him feel good if he's on this level.
Yeah.
So his wife is on this level. He's on this level. So he's going to cheat with somebody on this level who now he's elevated. He feels good. He feels like a king.
He's the king again.
And this actually occurs very often.
Yes, it does.
And what happens is the person who was cheated on is totally confused. Like, you got all this and you in the projects with somebody. She got 8 kids up in the 1-bedroom crib and you cheated on me.
Oh, and I bet you she probably makes him feel like the utmost king. The utmost. She puts her kids to the side.
Because she needs her rent paid.
Because she needs that $50
money.
Listen, she need that $50 Section 8 rent paid.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I shouldn't say things like that.
Well, and it kind of elevates her that she pulled this guy who got all this money. She doesn't realize that he's with her by default because what he has at home in his mind makes him feel emasculated.
And guess what? Here the caveats to this is the side chick probably has her another boyfriend too.
Oh, usually. Because they're not committed.
Because he can't spend the night.
But here's something. When the person who's cheated on their spouse with a side piece, when they find out that the side piece has other people that they are sleeping with, they have a fit.
Oh, yeah.
And so what they will do is confront their side piece, secondary relationship.
Secondary.
Who is this person you sleeping with? Well, the side piece is like, you going home to a whole spouse every day.
Every day.
Who are you to be up in my business? Because I got a couple other people coming up in here laying in the same bed that you laid with. Because when you go home to your spouse, you think this bed just supposed to get cold?
And this is how we get the STD strings.
Oh, my God.
The monkeypox.
Oh, my Lord.
Because that's how they say the monkeypox is one of the ways.
Actually, we need to probably talk about monkeypox.
We need to talk about monkeypox next week.
Monkeypox is spread from just contact.
Yeah.
They're saying if you get on an airplane, if you have on shorts, when you get on an airplane and you sit in that seat and somebody was there with monkeypox, when you get up, you got monkeypox.
So bring you a towel, a beach towel.
Or wear pants. You need to wear pants. Okay. And so, yeah. So that's that with revenge sex, cheating. Okay. The sex addiction. People,
hold on a minute. Listen here, friends. Stop calling me. Because if you're my real friend, you know from 2 to 3, I am on Cognitions, speaking of Unspeakable, with JP and Stacy D. I have got over 15 phone calls from my friends, except for Michelle Lee, because that's my dog. She have not called me. No.
She's usually watching the show, so she knows not to call.
Exactly. So all the rest of you guys, you're in trouble. Okay, go back. That was a special service announcement.
The D. D, if you would just, you see my phone is over here on silent. D.
What it is on silent.
But you reward the negative behavior. This is classical conditioning. For those of you, and by the way, she has gotten us all the way off track, okay? All the way off track. Classical conditioning, I don't have time to go into the full theory, but her people are reaching out to her during this time because she responds. Because she's complaining that they reach out, but she's also texting them. That's what y'all can't see. She's texting and responding to these people, which rewards their negative behavior. You're not going to get them to stop contacting you when you are busy.
I'm telling them on the air. On the air. Ding, ding, ding,
but
ding.
They still got a response. And that's all they like. You gonna respond to me. That's what you gonna do. I went through this years ago with people blowing my phone up during therapy sessions.
So off the subject right now.
Yes, blowing my phone up during therapy sessions, but I eliminated that problem. D, I can't believe you have been working in social services for 100 years and people still blowing up your phone when you're busy.
Because everybody think I just do whatever.
You have not set good boundaries.
I know.
Okay.
I have problems with that. That's my ADHD.
But my phone is sitting here closed. It's doing its own thing. People blowing it up. I'm sure there's all kind of text messages and everything, but I don't respond to that.
Let's see how many missed calls you have.
I do not respond.
I don't see very many.
My people know I'm not like you, D. I don't play with people.
We know you don't.
I don't have no problem with hurting feelings. Like
none at all.
That's what I
had to check you a couple times for hurting feelings.
That's just.
Did he try to check me too?
That's just what I'm gonna do.
But I have thick skin, so it don't bother me.
So one call.
He done missed one call.
One call has come in. I got 21 text messages.
That's because you don't really check your text messages like you should.
Well,
you're not texting text messages till 11 o'clock at night.
And this text is from somebody who's watching the show.
What'd she say?
One, that we wasn't live on the internet, but we were live on Facebook. So she was pointing out another technical difficulty.
Technical difficulties with JP and Stacy.
That's my girl Leslie. That's my girl Leslie.
She's our VIV.
She's our VIV.
Thank you,
my
Leslie.
wife is. Let me tell. And my wife is VIB. She made that.
Hey, Nadine.
She's
because you didn't tell her last. You didn't say her name last time.
And she wasn't playing that. But your spouse is automatically a VIV.
Mine wasn't.
But we cannot take our spouses for granted. Even though we know that they're automatically a very important person, a very important viewer, you still have to say, it's like, I tell my wife every day that dinner is good. She knows she cooked good dinners.
Okay, I'll just finish. Will it really be good, though?
No, they really be good. But she knows she makes good dinners, but I don't want to take her for granted and not compliment her on dinner. You see what I'm saying? So I took her for granted and didn't mention that she's VIV. Okay, D, is there any other side tracks that you want to do because you in your symptoms today? Or can we get back?
I'm feeling really good today because I did a honey.
Oh my God, I didn't mean.
I did a honey thing today. I took my grandkids.
Oh my God, she's actually getting off track again. I didn't mean.
My grandkids. We have a little time. I took my grandkids for their orientation, and I just really felt good that they're like really big boys now.
Oh my God.
What? And people thought they were my children. That's always a plus.
That is a plus. Oh my Lord.
They're sophomores now.
Okay.
Okay, now I'm done. Right back to cheating.
Oh, she hugs the fan. I'm sitting here sweating because it's hot in the station. Okay.
There you go.
Oh, D, you get us so off track. And I'm like, what was I even saying? Okay. For those cheaters who are cheating because of sex addiction, what that therapy looks like is relapse prevention planning. Okay, the same approach to relapse prevention planning with any other addiction, drugs, alcohol, gambling. It's a process of identifying their cycle, what leads up to the sexual indiscretions, and then pulling from that cycle the internal and external high-risk situations, triggers, okay, that put them at risk for cheating. And so once they identify all their internal high-risk situations, which are thoughts and feelings, like stress and anxiety, depression, anger. I got mad at my spouse, so yeah, I called my ex-girlfriend up from back.
And she's always open.
And she's ready. My ex was ready because she wanted this.
She stays up in like 7-Eleven.
Right. Lord, do you always go too far?
What?
Oh my Lord.
7-Eleven. I don't even know. It's not even very many 7-Elevens still open. Okay, open like Quick Trip.
But it's the stays open part. It's the stays open part. Okay, like, but the skank stay open. Okay, so and so identifying the internal high-risk situations, which are internal mood states that place a person at risk for wanting to self-medicate with sex instead of drugs or alcohol. And then the external high-risk situations, which are people, places, and things, same definition as the definition of a noun, those things that put a person at risk. Now, the most common external high-risk situation I see is going to the club. Married people who go to the club and they meet somebody at the club and they end up in their bed. And oftentimes they will have their favorite club where they're a regular there. And so the women they end up hooking up with are regulars also. For my female cheaters, their external high-risk situation is oftentimes the workplace. There's this man they work with. He been flirting with her and she been flirting with him. And they end up doing freaky things. Now, that is not an external high-risk situation a person can avoid. The intervention, because once all the external and internal high-risk situations are identified, then there's the process of coming up with interventions to combat those high-risk situations. Well, for my cheaters who work with the person they were cheating with, they're like, so what, I'm supposed to never go to work?
Go to a different department.
That is what they do. They have to switch departments.
Get on a different schedule.
Yes.
Maybe you need to go to second shift.
And if you cannot... And the spouse is usually like, I don't know what you gonna do, but you better figure out a way to stay away from him, because otherwise I'm gonna show up at that job, I got something for him. So you either figure out a way to be away from him.
Still not gonna have a job.
Well, then he's in prison. She actually might be able to keep the job, but it's gonna be some drama, okay? When you got your husband and your lover fighting in the parking lot, like, that ain't good. That's not good. And so then we do have to discuss, if you cannot transfer to a different department, if you cannot get a different job. This is with my professional people who are like, I make a lot of money at this job. I don't have the power to just transfer somewhere else. Then we work on other ways for them to set some boundaries. You don't need to be going to lunch with this person that you're trying to stop having sex with.
No.
Y'all don't need to be standing in front of the water cooler looking at each other like this.
Want to go to the janitor's closet?
And going to the janitor's closet, ripping off clothes, and no. And so they have to work on still setting those boundaries. But the spouse is usually not comfortable with them working with that person, period. And so that becomes an ongoing issue in the marriage, is you still work with your cheater. How am I supposed to know you're not cheating? And so what you were talking about, D, is a lot of times men are like, well, how she got the time to cheat? She got the time and she works with the person she's cheating with, because they at work. They have their whole lunch hour, because I do know people who have sex over lunch. I have clients who have sex with strangers over lunch. Because they get on their phone, they like, lunch is coming up in a couple of hours. I need to find...
On those apps.
On those apps. And they leave, they go on their little lunch excursion, and then they come back to work. Smelling funny, but they come back to work.
I don't know, they might have a whole bag in the trunk.
Well, men don't do whole bags.
Well, she might have something in her whole bag for him.
The whole might.
The whole might have something in the whole bag.
That's if she cares about him getting caught. She probably don't. Because the internet hookups, those are literally strangers. They like, we don't know each other. I'm probably never gonna see you again.
Never ever.
So I need you to like leave my house.
But you come back with monkeypox.
Oh my Lord, D. Okay, and so those who are self-medicating with back to the addictions. Once the relapse prevention plan is fully developed, all the internal and external high-risk situations are identified, and the interventions for those, then the couples therapy sessions are for that spouse to come in and become educated on what their partner's cycle is, so that as soon as they enter into the cycle, they're able to say, okay, I see. Let's say if anxiety and stress is their internal high-risk situation, they're able to say, look, you're getting really stressed out, your anxiety level is high, and we need to talk about it. We need to do those interventions that you came up with in therapy, because the last time this happened, you was out riding somebody, and we're not doing that again. So it's important for the spouse, not just with sex addictions, with any addiction. When you are in a relationship with someone who has an addiction, you need to know what their cycle is in order for you to be supportive in their relapse prevention. This is so important. And I even tell parents this who have teenagers who have an addiction, like, you need to know what triggers your kid. You need to know, and you need to know the interventions for battling and combating those triggers, those internal and external high-risk situations. Okay, for those who are self-medicating with sex, what that therapy looks like is identifying what it is they're self-medicating. Is it stress, anxiety? Is it depression? Is it a feeling of rejection from the partner? And whatever it is that they're using sex like a drug to feel better, helping them to realize that that is not the solution, and that's a solution that has actually caused more problems. So temporarily it made you feel better because, well, you was having sex, so you're gonna feel better
right then and there
sex.
For that time.
But in the long run, when you done got busted and your spouse is ready to leave you and take the kids and this and that
and
this
have
and that, right, you end up realizing that you were not self-medicating is not healthy. It carries more long-range consequences that makes it not worth it. And so in therapy, it's a lot of like impulse control, skill development, them getting in touch with the long-range consequences so that they realize that that fun I had with the person in the secondary relationship, that 20 minutes or 30 minutes or that lunch break was not worth these long-term consequences. Okay, hypersexuality. Those cheaters, hypersexuality, as we talked about before, is a symptom of mania in bipolar disorder. Their therapy looks like them being properly medicated. That is where psychiatry services have to be put in place, and the psychiatrist has to properly medicate them so that their manic episodes are not severe on the level where they go into hypersexuality. Now, what the couples therapy looks like is them being able to openly communicate to their spouse, I'm experiencing hypersexuality right now. I'm real horny. Like I'm
and
about
that means for the spouse to get ready. Okay, let's do it.
Yes, because they ready to hump a couch at that point. Like, I don't want to go out here in these streets. I don't want to go out in these streets.
And I really believe that if a spouse said that to their other spouse,
you got to jump on them.
Got to jump on. Got to jump on it.
Well, D, you said get down and dirty. Make something happen.
Make something happen.
The problem comes in if the spouse is unable to keep up with the hypersexuality, because hypersexuality is intense.
Think you need to get some
sex.
Get some energy drinks or something.
You need energy drinks. If you are in a relationship with somebody who has hypersexuality, keeping up with that. And here's the thing. People think that this is a dream for men when they have a woman who has,
they can't keep up.
My woman got hypersexual. I be getting it 3 times a day. I be getting it 3 times a day. Here's the problem. Because I was having a session with a man whose wife has hypersexuality. He has a medical diagnosis. He is not able. When they were younger, he loved it. He celebrated it. It probably played a major role in him falling in love. He's like, I'm having sex 3-4 times a day. If I look at this woman, we ripping our clothes off.
It's on and cracking.
But when he gets
to some college years.
Yes. But as they get older, what he ends up surprised by is, oh my God, how is she still as sexual as when we was 18? She's 55, like, come on, I got to get it. And she is not playing.
And seeing what they don't understand, that a woman, we gets kicked back in overdrive after we hit our 50s again.
And D ain't talking about the hypersexuality. She's talking about just
regular.
Yeah.
So just think about the hyper on it, and you already done kicked back in again. We back in overdrive now.
Overdrive. I'm talking, and for these men, they're a little embarrassed because they're like, I realize this is supposed to be every man's dream, and I remember when it was my dream, but dang gum. I've been dealing with her hypersexuality for 30 years or for 40. They're like, it's never gonna slow down, and I have to break the bad news. Like, no,
because she's gonna be in
a nursing home. One of them, because there's a lot of sexual assault.
It is. It truly is.
I probably shouldn't say a lot. But
it's a lot.
It is a lot of sexual assault that takes place in nursing homes.
Yes, it is.
Like, if you work in a nursing home, you walk in a room, you got some senile old man on top of some senile old woman, and even if she is not fully aware of what is being done to her, it's sexual assault. And so people who have hypersexuality, if you think that's gonna die down,
it doesn't never go away.
It's bipolar disorder. It's for life. And so when they get older in their 50s and their 60s, and they're like,
we're talking about 70s and 80s up in the nursing home, hopefully.
70s and 80s, and they're like, I am no longer enjoying this like I did when I was 18 to 20 something. This woman is about to kill me. And
how she die? On top of me.
What, D?
How did he die? On top of me.
Oh my God, The Color Purple.
The Color Purple.
Black folks will quote The Color Purple for every situation. That's what we do. We quote The Color Purple. Okay. That is our show for today.
Wow, that was good.
We made it through 5 of these. We didn't make it through the last one.
We didn't make it through the last one?
The last
one,
why. Which is a need for... I'm going to tell you why. Because the D got us sidetracked. We were so sidetracked, we was in a whole nother state for a minute there. We just got back to Missouri. Okay, so, but it was a good show because even when we got sidetracked, it was interesting. And that's
I had to bring us back.
After taking us away. Even when we get sidetracked, it's always interesting. So that's the good thing about working with the D. Is it's gonna be interesting whether it's on topic or not is a whole different thing. But when it ain't on topic, it's still interesting. All right, thank you all for joining us. That is our show for today. And remember, worry about nothing
and pray about everything.
Thank you.
And don't forget to like us and tell your friends about us on Facebook.
Like and share. And we are going to be re-airing our shows during prime time.
Prime time.
On Thursdays.
At 7 p.m.
At 7 p.m. D.
Bye-bye now.
We're done. We're done.
That's the best one.
Why is that phone